and welcome to Putin Football First. I'm not Sergio Ramos, and this gentleman beside me is not Diego Armando Maradona, despite the uncanny appearance. We are going to talk football today. We've got a new microphone. We have a live audience tonight as well. Let's have a look. They're very, very excited. Let's take a look, Harrison. And we're going to be talking football tonight.
We are, yes. Welcome, everybody. It's a packed show this evening, that is for sure, including a special guest reporter. More on that later. Before we get going, though, Tony, nice shirt.
It is a nice shirt, yes. Do we thank our sponsors again?
We actually have a sponsor.
We have a sponsor.
Cue the fanfare. We've got our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. Everything Football from Qatar has jumped up to the bridge and made sure that we have shirts and merch for countries for the rest of the World Cup show, which is a good thing because we're running a little bit low there for a while.
It was. There was only so many shirts that we could swap around, and yes, they were starting to need a little bit of spraying.
Indeed. So thank you to our friends at Everything Football, and I believe we're going to be shooting a show there later on in the season.
Wonderful.
So looking forward to that. Sean and Belinda, thank you so much for your participation. Now, everybody, if you're looking for shirts, the shirt of your country, the scarf, the hat, get on down to Everything Football. I was going to ask Harrison to put that up on screen, but you've done fine there. Everything Football.
It's very sale of the century at the moment.
It is. Where's our girl that turns the numbers?
I'm it.
Oh, you're it.
Yeah. You put me in an embarrassing onesie yesterday, so I'm it.
Indeed. So, thanks to our sponsors. Let's move straight on with a review of last night's games. That's much better. Now, first game last night was not Italy and Korea, and much like a bad Scandi movie, nothing quite went right for the Swedish, and it had some fairly dark periods. Tony, tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I thought the Swedes were very, very nervous, and I think the weight of expectation was on them. We spoke about it yesterday. They go to all the trouble of knocking Italy out in the qualifiers. They get to the World Cup. And I thought there were some nervy moments. And considering each one of their players were I think, on average, about 9'3" tall, and the average Korean height was about 4'3", the Koreans outmuscled them.
Look, I have to say, I know you like your Mexican goalkeeper, but that Korean goalkeeper was outstanding last night.
Good game. Yeah.
Again, hair like Neymar, but a fantastic effort.
Again, these guys are really stepping up. There's no easy games. Although last night, all the results went according to the script. The bigger teams did beat the minnows, but it wasn't easy for them at all throughout the period of the 95 minutes.
I was really disappointed with not Italy. I thought in the first half their ability to shoot was missing completely. They did everything to get in the front third, but just could not put it away.
And that's nerves. It could be nerves.
It could be. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. But in the second half, and the other interesting thing was Korea did something they don't normally do. They parked the bus.
Yeah.
Right? They literally put 9 players behind the ball and said, try and score for the first 45 minutes.
But I reckon
in the second half, they came out.
That's it. I reckon they were a lot more mobile. That's what I was about to say. In previous World Cups, they were outrun and they did a lot of run. But this time, they actually moved the ball. They transitioned.
Put it right to Sweden.
That's it. Yeah.
And I mean, not Italy. Yeah. And I actually thought we were headed for a draw. I thought not Italy was very, very lucky.
And the VAR was used for good and not evil. That was the correct use of the VAR last night.
You can't hate it 1 minute and love it the next.
No. Well, I think it was used correctly. There was a decision that the referee made that was not a penalty. Wasn't in the best position to make that judgment. VAR came in. Clearly, it was a penalty, and that's how it's supposed to work. It was a clear and obvious error.
Yes, you can't use a Swedish forward as a monkey bar. You just can't do it.
But one of the tackles for the Koreans in the first half, where he stretched out with the left leg, I looked at that thinking, Risden, if you'd only just done the same thing, that was a terrific tackle.
No, it was. So there you have, not Italy 1, Korea 0. The next game last night. Now, I didn't see this one, Tony, so fill us in on this one.
Yep, I watched it.
I understand Panama smashed them.
Quite, in the reverse order. Your favourite team, Belgium, that you've been looking for. Again, they were a little bit nervous. It was 0-0 at half-time. They couldn't break Panama down. No big names in Panama. But again, they worked very, very hard off the ball because Belgium had long periods of possession. And in the second half, Panama, obviously, they just ran out of steam. And 3-0, 3 good goals too. Lukaku got 2 of them, and some De Bruyne in the first half stayed a little bit back. In the second half, he pushed a little bit further forward, and just started to run everything from in that front third just in front of the box, and he was just impossible to stop.
So at the risk of sounding like Tony, that's the second largest win of the tournament so far, wasn't it?
It was, behind 5-0. So
there you go.
But again, no, good value for it too.
Fantastic. Well done, Belgium. And the last game, the one everybody was looking forward to, we're not actually going to review this game. We've got a guest reviewer. Yes, the more the merrier. If you want to review a game, please contact us on Facebook. But just in a moment, we're going to introduce our first guest reviewer for the show.
And welcome back to Putin Football First. We have a few firsts in tonight's program. We have a brand new microphone. We're in front of a live audience. Jonathan's taken a shower. And we have a guest presenter who is going to review the England match. Jonathan, who we got here?
Look, I'd like to introduce everybody to Adrian Stein, or as we call him, Adrian the Pom. Adrian, before we start, we've just got to do some bona fides. Where were you born?
England.
Ah, that'll do. That'll do. Now, you've lived in a few different places
qualified
as well. Whereabouts around the world have you lived?
I've lived in Kuwait, Romania, and Russia for 2 years as well.
Oh, there you go. We have the World Cup in a chair right
Wow.
now. Right now. All right. Well, Adrian's reviewing the England match, and we'd like to see how it goes. So, Adrian, go for it.
Thank you, guys. So yeah, my name is Adrian Steen. I'm going to be reviewing all of the England games for the World Cup this year. Fingers crossed, I'll be reviewing more than 3, but we'll just have to wait and see how they go. So, England's first game was the second game in Group G, and they were playing Tunisia last night. So what did I expect? I expected England to win. It wasn't going to be a thrashing, but nonetheless, they should have got the win. What was the game really like? Well, it took a little bit longer than I would have liked for them to secure the 3 points, 91st minute to be precise, but in the end, we did what we needed to do, and we got the win. So, well done, boys. Good job. So, first half was a half of wasted opportunities. We should have been up 3 or 4 goals, but couldn't make it. A few missed shots by Lingard, Rashford in the second half, but this is the first half. And some great saves by the Tunisian goalkeepers, both of them, because one got injured and they had to sub out. And then I thought a couple of the corners that came in, VAR should have got introduced. Harry Kane got pulled down, nothing, so I'm not sure what was going on there, but in the end, didn't matter, we got through it. Walker, don't know what he was doing in the end. He whacked a guy in the face, the guy did go down kind of soft, but you can't get hitting people in the face in football, so penalty nonetheless, and they scored 1-1. Second half, Tunisian defenders came out to play. They defended well, we pressed high, attack, we just couldn't break them down until the very end. Harry Kane broke free of his man from a corner, didn't get pulled down that time. Perfect header, slotted, back stick, beautiful, 2-1. I was off my seat, screaming at 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to wake the whole house. Beautiful. So, 2-1, England win in the end. Can't complain. On to the next game, which is Sunday night against Panama. Thank you, and back to the boys in the studio.
Well, that was fantastic. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much. Now,
Thank you.
I've got one question for you, though, before you finish. You know the England team, they're quite young.
Yep.
Can you explain this?
Yep. Well, that is a normal Saturday night for any young sporting team, and you just want to be on the top. You don't want to be on the bottom, because I don't know where his head is, and this guy's having a wonderful time, and he's on the top, so...
All right, so that's a normal thing for the English football team these days. That's
Well,
terrific.
if you're born in England,
Good to know.
That's the technical definition of bonding.
Indeed.
Precisely.
Supposed to do it before a game, though, aren't you? In the privacy of your own hotel. Hey, Adrian, tell us a bit about your football playing. You play around the Hunter.
I do. When I came over here, I moved in with my parents. We all came as a family, and down in Valentine's, I play for Valentine Football Club, the Mighty Phoenix. And yeah,
There you,
been
go,
playing there ever
ladies and,
since.
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get down to CB Complex and catch our star, Adrian the Pom, who will be back in a few nights' time. Thanks very much, Adrian.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Well
Thank
done,
you.
Adrian. You're making us look very ordinary. And welcome back to Putin Football First. That was a terrific segment, Jonathan.
Yes,
Lovely to have Adrian on.
It was. He's good, isn't he?
He's very knowledgeable.
All right. We're going to go to Coach's Corner now and have a look at Japan's coach, Akira Nishino. Now, what's unusual about this guy is he was given 6 weeks' notice of the gig before the World Cup.
Better than the Spanish coach.
Indeed.
6 minutes.
Yeah, true. Here it is.
Let's have a look.
Japan have been in 6 consecutive World Cups now and take this tournament really seriously, which is perhaps why, after a draw to Mali and a loss to the Ukraine, just 2 weeks out for the tournament, they took action. They sacked their coach, Bosnian Halihocic. Some say necessary, some say insane, but hey, it worked for Spain. Taking his place, the Japanese football director Akira Nishino. The Japanese Football Association made a clear statement that they wanted Japan to revert from Halihocic's counter-striking strategy, which to be fair wasn't really working, and revert to a traditional possession-based passing game. Trouble is, Nishino only had about 7 weeks, 2 friendlies and a short pre-season tournament training camp to try and make the change. What happens in their first game is anyone's guess. To be fair, the Blue Samurai have never been too far off their best as a team and boast some formidable talent. So what will Nishino produce on the night? Luck did smile on Japan, handing them a relatively easy group that avoids most of the heavyweights like Germany, Brazil and Spain. A former player and manager, Nishino played for the Blue Samurai 12 times and scored once. As a manager, he led Gamba Osaka to their first ever J-League title in 2005 and the Asian Champions League in 2008. On taking over as manager, he was quick to point out that Halihocic had done a great job working on the players' individual skills, saying that this was something that the team needed to improve. He believed that now the players can run at defenders more and attack more from angles. The Japanese are a proud team, and after an injury scare see the return of their talisman Keisuke Honda, a player with years of experience and some of it playing in the Russian First Division. Nishino will probably be allowed a little slack if the team don't perform well, but he will be hard on himself. World Cups are funny things. We just may see the Blue Samurai make it to the knockout stage or even further. The best game we could watch is Spain v Japan.
Another really interesting segment. I don't know what it is about these football federations that give these coaches minimal amount of time, and it sounds like lucky that he did step in because Japan were looking down the barrel of some very, very poor results leading in.
It was not looking good, Tony. It wasn't looking good. Speaking of not looking good, let's talk about refs for a minute. How's the refs riff this week going?
I've got some bad news.
Really?
For you?
What,
Yes.
we're going to keep putting this stream out for another 25 days.
No, I've got some bad news. One of the segments that we were going to do is to analyse, all the big refereeing mistakes of the tournament. So far, we've played 12 matches. There's not really a lot of mistakes that the referee's making, and even if they do make them, well, they're being fixed by the VAR anyway.
That's right.
So
we could do a session on the mistakes the VAR has made, but I think we've done that every night.
I think we'd talk about that every night. Instead, yes, we'll talk about refs riff and Byron Moreno. Does that name mean anything to you?
Jose's brother?
Possibly, closely. Almost every football fanatic in Italy knows Byron's name very, very well. Let's take a look. Mention the name Byron Moreno to any fanatical Italian football fan and watch their facial expression go from being friendly to being downright angry. Byron Moreno was the referee from Ecuador who took charge of the round of 16 clash between Italy and co-host South Korea at the 2002 Korea-Japan World Cup. The Italians call it lo scandalo, the scandal, and even the most neutral football fan will find it hard to argue with the conspiracy theories that have circulated since that match. After correctly awarding South Korea a penalty in the early stages of the match, Moreno set out on one of the most one-sided displays of refereeing you'll ever witness. The penalty was missed, by the way, by a player called Arne, who would come back to haunt the Italians. More on that later. A studs-up tackle on Zambrotta went unpunished. A cynical block on Totti on the edge of the area went unpunished. Italian coach Trapattoni was apoplectic on the sidelines. Having already booked Totti for a foul in the 22nd minute, in the 103rd minute, Moreno gained full notoriety in the eyes of Italians and the rest of the neutral football world when from 30 metres away he judged Totti to dive in the penalty area. Replay showed the South Korean defender got the ball and Totti. It should have been play on. Instead, Moreno issued Totti a second yellow card for simulation and he was sent off. Even with 10 men, the Italians pressed forward. Tomasi was given offside incorrectly when he was level. Trapattoni was left punching the Perspex glass in front of the fourth official. In the 117th minute, Arne, who had missed that penalty earlier, heads in the winner under the now defunct golden goal rule. Italy was out. But in a true Italian twist, Arne played his football in Serie A at the time for Perugia, who promptly tore up his contract. A scandal indeed.
If there's one thing I've got to say about the Italians, they really don't put a lot of passion into their football.
No, not at all. I think the word Italian and scandal go hand in hand, don't they?
It is true. It is true. And it's always good to see an Italian getting sent off.
Yeah, well, not in those circumstances. For the love of the game, it wasn't good.
Always
in those
good to see an Italian getting sent off. But
No, it
thank you for that, Tony.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And it's that time of the evening to go through the games coming up tonight. Tony, I believe we've got Colombia, Japan, the battle of the small men.
Yes, we round out Group H tonight. So tonight, officially, the entire first round of matches will be over. We will have seen every team play at least one match. So your favourite player from last World Cup.
Still my favourite player.
Still your favourite player. We might insert footage of James' goal in the 2014 World Cup.
Oh, let's.
Yeah,
love watching that. Love
terrific
watching
talent. Terrific talent. So he'll be on show tonight. I love Colombia. I reckon they're a terrific side. And I still think back to USA 1994 when a certain Andres Escobar turned in an own goal, infamously against the US, and was killed 6 weeks later. So they take their football even more seriously than the Italians do. But I love the way Colombia play. I love the way that they move the ball around.
Look,
big, strong, fit guys, and skill up front.
Yes, and look, you can't take it away from the Japanese either. They're still a force. They know how to run. I love watching Honda play as much as I love watching James play.
Yep.
It's going to be a great game.
I think they'll be a little bit disrupted by the change in the coach and whether they know which system to go back to.
Could be. We said that about Spain, and look what happened.
They're the last of the Asian teams to play. All the Asian teams haven't fared terrifically well in this World Cup. Iran being the only one who's won so far with a 94th minute own goal. So
dark horse.
In terms of the Asian region, we do need to have a team that steps up.
Indeed. Okay, what's the second game tonight, Tony?
Poland against Senegal. And again, the Senegalese, African football, huge fans of the way that they move the ball around. Poland back in the World Cup for the first time in many, many years, and again through a fairly tough qualifying process. So again, they're another one of these teams, European teams that move the ball around, very, very quickly, play on the counter attack. And the African style, a bit like Nigeria, Senegal will be hard to push off the ball. They're big boys as well.
Yes, indeed. But I love watching Lewandowski play. He's always entertaining.
Yeah, that's it.
And that ends the first round of games, and the last game tonight is the first game of the second round.
That's it. We're
back to Group A again.
Yeah, we're back to Group A. The hosts are back in action this time against Egypt. Now this. Based on the way that
game, couldn't it?
Based on the way these two teams played in the first game, this is a really mouth-watering fixture, and I can't wait, to see it.
Yes.
Egypt beaten with the odd goal. Russia, who really put the kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the sword. This is a really mouth-watering fixture.
Yeah, but I believe we've got Mo Salah returning.
Yes.
So again, if Egypt play the way they did in that first game and use his strengths on top, it'll be very hard to beat them.
And if Russia watch the tape of what Sergio Ramos did, they'll be able to do the chicken wing tackle on him, and he'll be out of the World Cup.
He might be a little tender. Chicken wing joke there, but anyway.
All jokes aside, I think the referees already know about what happened to him, and I think he'll be protected. They'll protect him.
I hope so.
Yep.
For the rest of the tournament.
For the sake of the game.
Yeah, the sake of the tournament.
Protect the gifted player.
Fantastic. So 3 really good matches tonight. I won't be watching all of them, and neither will you.
No,
you will,
oh,
because
okay.
look, I have to say we've received a bit of mail in the last 24 hours. At least two messages that have told us that we look like shit. Well,
really?
We're watching games through the night, then turning up to do this. So if our eyes get blacker and blacker and our speech gets slurred as we go, I make no apologies. It's a badge of honour. This is the World Cup, and this is what we love. So bring on the makeup artist, not.
By the end of the 30 days, we'll both be looking like John English in the black eyes.
Indeed, yes.
And I'm happy to get a pair
without his hair.
without singing Pirates of Penzance.
I can do that. I am
no,
a
you can.
model of a modern
Don't. But I'm happy to wear sunglasses towards the end of it to look less shite, if you like.
I got a pair over here if you need them. All right, That's it, everybody.
But all games are on. The reason I'm going to watch them,
yes.
all 3, is they're all on SBS.
Yes, Droptus finally made a good decision.
Droptus or Floptus?
Does it really matter?
They flopped the Droptus?
Yeah.
They dropped the Floptus?
They dropped the Floptus. No, they
so
dropped
all
the
3
Floptus
games
and went to Droptus.
That's it. all 3 games are on SBS, and that's why I'm watching them, because I'm taping them and sitting up and watching them.
And we may not have the same issues with copyright that we had before. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we go, we have a quick thank you to our sponsors. We have one now. Thanks again to Everything Football. We're really happy. I've proudly worn the Argentinian colours today. Everything Football. We're going to be shooting a show from Everything Football in the next few days, so keep your eye out for that. And of course, our good friends at Murray's Brewery.
It's a dry argument.
Hey, it's happening any day now. Thanks, Murray's Brewery. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, talk to us on Facebook.
Not only that, we also want to thank our studio audience.
Oh, yes. Let's thank our studio audience. I think they're too noisy. We can't have them back again. No. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See ya.